Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Darrell Kwao. The new government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobnenim, has disclosed that the Ghana Statistical Service will be more transparent in its work going forward. He says this will be top priority during his tenure of office. Addressing the media, Professor Nim noted that the Statistical Service will be moving away from merely releasing figures to more objective analysis.
Moving forward for Ghana Statistical Service, we're going to go beyond the releases of these numbers and do some analytical reports. So as he tried explaining, the question that we're asking ourselves is that if local food item, local items, that is combined food and non-food, remained the same, and imported items went up by 2.6%, what is the lag implications on that? Because over the period, we've realized that the exchange rate has been soaring, but this is the time that we realize there is a big jump in the import food and non-food items of about 2.6%. So from our point of view, it is the major driver compared to local food and non-food items for the 0.1 inflation, year-on-year inflation that we have just released. So it's important we appreciate the link between inflation and key macroeconomic variables, one of them being the exchange rate. Again, in subsequent releases, we'll try as much as possible to link the inflation rate and its rate of sensitivity to variables such as interest rate, poverty, and unemployment.
Microfinance experts are calling for key measures that should be taken in the wake of impending reforms in the sector. The governor of the central bank, Dr. Ernest Addison, at a recent monetary policy press conference, said the regulator will soon implement a set of reforms. Microfinance expert Roderick Ayer highlighted some of the key measures that should be introduced when he appeared on the business edition of PM Express.
We should be able to structure it in such a way that institutions that feel would want to stay in Accra would pay a certain capital level. Institutions that actually want to stay in the interland will pay a certain capital. I mean, let me borrow simply from the Nigerian sector. If you want to stay national as a microfinance, your capital requirement is different. If you want to stay regional, your capital requirement, we can do that. And then we should also look at, I still believe we need a fund. I mean, an on-lending fund or a fund that microfinance institutions can actually fall on and actually extend on-lending loans to their institutions. Another critical point we need to be looking at is the apexes that we have in the microfinance sector. From my view and from a lot of work, I think we have too many apexes. And what happens is that when you have too much or too many apexes, they begin to form, everybody protects their turf. We also need to streamline that so that we can have directives coming from one apex body actually going through the entire industry with the same information, with the same standard, and with the same, objective.
Meanwhile, Managing Director of Jare Microfinance, Akofa Ahiafo, has called for a fund for microfinance institutions ahead of the reforms. She says this will lessen the burden of expensive sources of funds, which ultimately worsens the plight of the borrowing public.
The issue of fund is critical. Okay. Now, nobody thinks of where microfinance people raise money from for business. And we borrow from the banks with cash deposit. When you go for overdraft, you deposit cash. Now, how much did you get the cash? You are depositing, and then you are lending against that one. Then the customer takes it and now tells you that I am paying principal. That is critical. So the funding bit becomes very important. So if this reform, as has been said, 700 million, 950 million, those monies come. As a practitioner, I don't know how it's going to be like. But if it's coming to support the institutions, that will be perfect. Yeah. That will be the ideal thing. I think we need to clap for the government and praise them forever if they are able to do that, because for the very first time, there will be such a fund to help. I know our colleagues in Nigeria, they borrow at 2% per annum, and we borrow at 30 plus. It's now that interest rates are coming down little. So it's very important.
There's plenty more to come at the top of the hour on the marketplace. That's it for business. Back to you, Daniel.
Thanks, Darrell. There seems to be a lot of passion within the microfinance sector, and we'll be expecting more in that space in coming bulletins. But ahead of tonight's AFCON 2019 draw, Black Stars coach Kwesi Appiah says his boys are ready for any team. Hans Menta Ando brings you details.